Okay, so let's try to understand this formula that we have for compound interest. At each compounding, one earns interest at a rate that is 1/nth of the interest rate per unit time. So if the time is in years, then at each compounding, if you compound n times per year, then each time you only get 1/nth of your interest. So say it's annual interest, and you compound, say it's 5% annual interest, and you compound 12 times a year, then each time you only get 1/12 of that 5%. So you get 5% divided by 12. Okay. So I made a little table here to kind of demonstrate this. So we got compounding, amount, and account. So at first there's zero compounding, and the amount in the account is your principal, P. Okay, then the first compounding, you get P sub 1, and that's going to be P plus R over N times P. What is that? The interest rate let's say per year, just to make it simple, interest rate per year divided by the number of times that you're going to compound per the year, right? And that gives you your interest rate for this short period of time. And then you add, so the R over N times P is the interest that you're earning over that short period of time. And you add it to the original principal to find your new principal, which is P sub 1. Okay. And then if you factor out the P on the right side of that, you get P times the quantity 1 plus R over N. That's where the 1 plus R over N in our formula comes from. The 1 means that you get your principal back. The R over N is the interest that you're earning. Okay, so you'll see if I compound a second time, I just take the principal P times 1 plus R over N is my new principal. So I take my new principal and I add R over N times my new principal. And if you factor that, you just get that you multiply it by 1 plus R over N twice. In other words, you get P times the quantity 1 plus R over N, that whole thing squared, right, with the P as a coefficient. Yeah? And so you can see the pattern, I think. If the third compounding, you have to cube the 1 plus R over N, and etc. In the nth compounding, you take the nth power of 1 plus R over N. And that's the first year. If you do this for 2 years, so you're compounding it, the first year you're compounding it n times. If you do this for 2 years, you're going to have the power is going to be 2n. It's twice as long. So you've done twice as many times you've compounded it. And so n times t compoundings, you're going to have the 1 plus R over N raised to the nt times. And that's the actual formula. So the n times t is the total number of times that you've compounded the interest. The 1 plus R over N gives you one compounding. Okay, and the P is just the amount you start with. So if you can understand that, then you can remember the formula. You just have to think about it a little bit. Think about it a few times. Maybe put in some actual numbers for the rate